am a rainbow. Colors make up our whole world. Everything we say and do. But did you know each boy and girl is made of colors too? When I'm tickled pink, it means I'm feeling dandy. It means that everything is great and sweet as cotton candy. But guess what happens when my sister pulls my hair? Then I turn red and I'm angry as a bear. If mommy says time out, I pout for a minute or two. Then I get bored and sad and I feel kind of blue. Sometimes I get jealous, then I'm feeling green. That happens when I'm left out of a happy scene. When I'm feeling scared, kids call me yellow. But I can find my courage and be a brave fellow. When we all play together, it makes me feel so cozy. My mood is joyful and everything is rosy. So remember as you go from home to home, I said home to home, I'm trying to read upside down. Hue to hue, very important word in this book. Okay. Important vocabulary word for young children. That each and every person has feelings too. So be a rainbow, shine above, and filter all your glow through love. It's nature's way, these colors you show. So simply say, I am a rainbow. This is one example of the many books that children receive in the mail when they're enrolled in the Imagination Library program. And it is written by the founder of Imagination Library, Dolly Parton, Tennessee's own Dolly Parton. So that's where we're going to kind of start from the beginning there. Dolly, in 1996, Dolly started in her home county of Sevier County. She wanted to foster love of reading for all of the young children, all of the families. That she wanted children to be excited about books and feel all the magic that books can create. And she wanted to make sure that each and every child had books in their home, regardless of their family's income. So I'm going to back up a little bit. One of the things in Dolly's heart is that her father was illiterate. He couldn't read. And she saw how that was a stumbling block in his life. Even though he was an intelligent man, a hard worker, and provided for his family, she still saw how his life was impacted by that. That is one thing. And then she really cared about her community and wanted to make sure all the children in her community had books in the home. So she decided to mail a brand new age-appropriate book every month to every child under 5 in Sevier County. Sarah's got a copy of the first book that comes in the mail there. The Little Engine That Could would be the first book that they find in their mailbox, and we'll talk a little bit more about that book. And all of these moments happen every month for every child until they turn 5. And then the last book in the program Sarah has here, and we'll talk a little bit about that one too. Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come. And the children are, by that time, ready for kindergarten. When they're 5 years old, of course, Lisa Ann knows they can get their library card. And then their kindergarten, pre-K, first grade, they have access to a lot more books. But thanks to the Imagination Library program, children are getting books from birth. So needless to say, the experience was a success, so much that other communities wanted to do this. And now it is spread across the whole state in 95 counties and beyond. Dolly thought long and hard about how she wanted other communities to participate, and she established the Dollywood Foundation. And they have a panel of experts that pick out the books, and then there's a database that they manage. In 2004, Governor Bredesen established the Governor's Books from Birth Foundation. It is created to serve as a catalyst and a resource for every county in Tennessee to have strong imagination library programs. They had a big rollout to raise funds statewide, training volunteers, organizing fundraising, and just support. They've been a great support for us in Coffee County. Sarah's going to talk more about the history of Coffee County. Each month, Tennessee Statewide Imagination Library mails new age-appropriate books to all of those children. All of the state's 408,000 children have access to it, and we will have more numbers in a minute. So in 2005, Coffee County established their program. Every community helps pay for the mailing, the books, the mailing, promotes the program, registering children, and entering into the database, and then Dollywood Foundation helps us out. So Sarah's going to tell us about the history of Coffee County Imagination Library.
Okay. One of the things Laurel's talked about is this partnership between Dollywood Foundation, the Governor's Books from Birth Foundation, and the local program, which is key to the success of this program, because the Dollywood Foundation has the experts that decide on the books. They handle the shipping, working with the publishers. The Books from Birth Foundation provides 50% of the cost of the books and mailing, and they also pursue grants for us, support us with training, so anytime we've got questions, we can go to them and get some issues resolved. Then the local affiliate, which is us, then we raise the other 50% of the cost of the books and enroll the children. One of the misconceptions that several people have is that Dolly Parton pays for the books for Imagination Library. There is no county in the state, and all 95 counties are enrolled in the program, but no county receives funds from Dolly Parton. So don't know what she's doing out of state, but it's not happening in Tennessee. So one of the things that the Governor's Books from Birth Foundation does for us is to pursue grants to help those counties who are growing. And when the Imagination Library first got started with Dolly Parton and Governor Bredesen coming together and said, this is a great program, we need to do it in all 95 counties, they said the average enrollment should really stay at about 60%. They never saw it growing any more than 60%. And there were several years when Barbara Snyder was involved that it did stay at that. But that is not the case. For the last 2 years, we have been at 84 and 85%. So there are 3,500 children in Coffee County who are eligible, aged birth to 5. We have about 3,000 of those enrolled. So, and there are some other things that have caused that to happen. Our current governor has worked with the Children's Cabinet, and so the Department of Human Services, when anyone enrolls up for services through them, will go ahead and enroll children, and that never happened before. We also have the Department of Children's Services enroll all the children who are in foster care. So, and which works out fine, and then through their system, if a child moves, say, from one county into ours, then we'll be notified that a child is being transferred in from DCS to do that. And I think Laurel's going to talk about the relationship with Harton. And that's another program. There are, I think, 12 hospitals in the state who are enrolling children, getting children enrolled at birth. Harton was the second one to come on board to do that. So one of the things I know when we got started, in 2005, and the first book went out in 2006. There were 4 of us on the founding board. Barbara Snyder and I were 2 of those people. So I know that every year she would call me, because I'm the treasurer, and say, all right, we're getting ready to talk about it this month at church, so I need to know how much money did they donate last year, because I'm going to tell them they got to raise more money than they did the year before. And for all of those years that she was here, she did exactly that. So I'm afraid I don't have that personality that Barbara had, but I know that the last year that you all donated again was a little less than $900. So that's a huge support to us.
Since you mentioned Barbara, there was something in the book here that made me think about Barbara when we were singing that song. Or no, maybe it was, what was something, 86?
86, yeah.
Song number 86? Okay. It just made me think about Barbara. So since we mentioned Barbara, and I was so blessed to meet Barbara when I started in 2013, I think. I started with Imagination Library. Got to meet a lot of great people like Sarah and of course Barbara. But the end of the song says, "Let love be my legacy," and that really made me think about Barbara being in here and thinking about some of the things that she started. As Sarah said, Tenova Healthcare Harton started partnering with us in 2013, right? So, or is that, yeah. So we've celebrated 5 years of that collaboration this year. In the birthing unit, they are registering the babies and giving to the Little Engine That Could book and paying for it for those babies before they even leave the hospital. So what we know about brain development, birth to 3.5 years old is the most brain development in your life, and then on up to 5 years old. So those babies need those books in their hands, and that family engagement where the parents are reading those books to the children from the get-go. And family engagement is one of the most important aspects of the Imagination Library program. It's not just about books. It's about that excitement the children have when they see that book come in the mail, that family getting together and reading that book, that children having that library that they're building up. Might be going a little bit out of order, but it's in my head too. We have parents in Coffee County who are illiterate. We have parents in Coffee County who are learning the English language. And I think about that impact sometime that this has when those children get those books in the mail, and however they're going through that book with that child, those parents are benefiting from that, and they're bonding. And it's about so much more than just that book. We have, and I'm going to leave a copy of this annual report, and we also have an impact analysis from last year, which has a lot of important statistics and just a lot of points about research and early literacy, and just a lot of good information on the impact that Imagination Library has had. Some things I want to point out in this one. Imagination Library has, well, I'm thinking about it too. We already mentioned all of Tennessee. From what Dolly started in Sevier County back in 1996, has spread to Canada, England, Australia, now Germany and parts of Africa. Am I missing something? Okay, so it is spread just from what she started in Tennessee. I'm pretty proud of that, and proud of Dolly for starting that. There's been 30 million books in 13 years.
Let me just jump in
Okay,
there.
go ahead.
I just happened to be talking with someone from the Governor's Books from Birth Foundation the other day who let us know, because it was a number that hasn't been brought to our attention before. But at this point, Coffee County has already distributed and paid for more than 300,000 books to children birth to age 5 since we started, just in Coffee County. Which was, I just hadn't imagined the number to be that high, so.
And you all helped make
Yes.
that happen. So thinking about, your corner of the world, how you can make an impact on the community, you've helped make that happen. So we do appreciate that. How the program works in Tennessee. So Sarah talked about,
No, I
Okay. Sarah talked about Coffee County. So we raise 50% of the funds for the mailing, and we enroll children and promote it. And you see us at a lot of community events doing some of those things. Governor's Books from Birth here in Tennessee raises 50% of the funds and supports our programs. The Dollywood Foundation manages selection, pricing, and distribution of the books. So this is for you to be able to go and explain to people how it works when people think that Dolly pays for everything. So this is how it works. There's 50% with us here in the county, 50% on the state level, Dollywood Foundation supporting that. And then those books arrive in the mailboxes of all of Tennessee's children. Do you want to add anything to that? Okay. So you can be those people that can go out and let people know, hey, we need to help with this, because Dolly can't pay for everything. If she did, I think she would be broke, because she has a lot of other things that she helps out with too. Some of the impacts we've already touched upon many of, but just more specifically, early reading skills, that early literacy, all those letters that the children are seeing, and connecting the words to the pictures, and knowing that the page goes from left to right, and seeing their parents reading from top to bottom, the front and the back of the book, what a book feels like. All of those experiences are part of early literacy. School readiness, of course, goes back to what I just talked about. And something with the program that kind of has, we've realized over the years, is the children have the same experiences as they get into pre-K and kindergarten. They see the Llama Llama Red Pajama book and say, I have that book, I read that book. When we're at community events, children point out the books, their favorite books. I have that book at home. So all the children in the county have that shared experience before they get into school. And the teacher knows that most of them, especially here in Coffee County, what's the percentage we have right now of
that are
enrolled?
85.
85%. So 85% of the children going into kindergarten have had that shared experience with a lot of the same kinds of books. And so that's a big impact there. No matter what their income level, what kind of family it is, they've all got that shared experience. Language development. We know that when children are read to by their parents and they're talking about those books and all the family engagement that we've mentioned, there's better language development for children. So we are helping facilitate that with the Imagination Library program. Life skills development. Some of the topics of the books that come in the mail. Even look out, Kindergarten, Here I Come. That's preparing the children for what's going to happen when they go into kindergarten. Many other books, of course, out of those 60 books that children are getting, all kinds of topics. Some of them are more factual, some of them are everyday life, some of them are fantasy, so some of them are nature. There's such a wide variety. They are learning all different areas, including those life skills. Concept of print and book appreciation that I mentioned earlier. And again, we can't stress enough that parent engagement. We want strong families in Coffee County. And this is one way to bring them together. A home literacy practice. So having books in the home, and for the parents to show their appreciation of the books, and that love for reading, and there's a purpose for books. All of that, and of course the excitement for reading. We want children to be excited about books and love those books. Those impacts, and we can think of many more if we went on and on. Sarah already talked about partnerships. I wanted to mention that. Children's Services, Human Services, the Department of Health, the Welcome Baby Initiative, and all the birthing hospitals. And so Harton is one of the first ones to work on that. Much more in this book that I will leave with you. I do have a quote that I really liked in the other book. I'm the mother of a 13-year-old girl and a newborn baby boy. As a working mom, I can't always get new books for my son. I signed up for the program shortly after he was born. The selection of books is always age-appropriate, colorful, and on a variety of subjects. My daughter enjoys reading to her new little brother. So just simple things like that. There's so many kinds of families in Tennessee, and we're making an impact in their lives with the program. Just want to look at my notes and see if there's anything else big that I wanted to point out. I think we covered a lot of the points. Yeah, I think so. And Dolly's like, yes, I got that. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the points, and so later if you have some questions, we are here for you. I think we covered all our main points. So I'd like to close with a letter from Dolly, which is at the end of this book, I'm a Rainbow. I did bring some more books, examples of books that come in the mail, and some of my favorites, if you want to look at them later. But this is a letter from Dolly. When I was just a young child, I am from Tennessee, but I can't do a Dolly accent. Otherwise, I'd try to do a Dolly impersonation. But, you know, she's got a very unique voice. When I was just a young child, I wanted to see a rainbow every single day. No matter how I was feeling, seeing a rainbow always made me happy. Then one day, I figured out how I could see a rainbow every day. All I had to do was reach up in the sky and pull that rainbow right out of the sky and place it in my heart. May you all carry a rainbow in your heart, so whenever you need a moment of joy, you just let that rainbow out of your heart and watch it jump back into the sky. I love you, Dolly. Thank you.